Welcome to yet another video for, well, this would be the first actually for the AeroSys announcement system. You can get it in the link in the description if I have bothered to link it, and through the Discord. You must have a account linked with Parcel and a internet connection in order for this product to work. So, once you've inserted it into Studio, in which if you don't know how to insert the file into Studio, just pull up a YouTube video on that. I don't think I have one on my page, but for example, config Roblox does. So yeah, you have your base plate or your airport or whatever. But what is inserted with the file is this, AS announcement system. Inside this folder, you have a README and free groups, replicated storage, server script service, and starter player scripts. Based on what time you are watching this video, it may be slightly different, but the concept stays the same. You pull up the README script, in which I will try to show you to the best of my ability. And right now I have most of these values already filled out, and they likely will be for the versions so that you get a guidance on how everything works. But just to get the structure of it all, here you have the version number. That's important because we will release the version number for updates, and if you're not on the latest one, you may have a faulty system with a bug or lacking some features. Here you have the AeroSys group link and the AeroSys Discord without the vanity because you get banned for having that. And then you have a setup video link, which links to this video you are watching right now, and some links for a document, how to find group ID and ranks, which apply to this one and staff rank. This is the lowest rank that can use the system, by the way. Under here you have the steps, in which I assume you're either here because you couldn't be asked to read the steps, or you are struggling with the steps. So I'm going to help you with that right now. So first, turn on HTTP requests and game settings, security, and HTTP requests. So if we locate ourselves over to game settings over here, it is on the home bar here, home right here. Oh, I double click that. If you have it like this, just double click it and it should pop up and stay there. Then you go to game settings and you get this window popping up. Probably some information about your game, and you've probably been to this page before. You go to security and then allow HTTP requests. That is actually the reason that I couldn't test the pre-written announcements in the previous video, in which I will also probably link, but it's also down in the README script. However, you allow HTTP requests, enable Studio access to API services. That is, for example, data stores. That is a nice thing to have. But these two are not really recommended unless you know specifically what they do and have a use for it. But these two must be on for it to work. The secrets does not matter. Then hit save. And game settings would not work if you don't have the place published, so make sure you do have that as well. Moving on, we have now turned on HTTP requests. Now we need to ungroup the models in their respective area as per their name. For example, server script service group should be ungrouped in server script service, and so forth. If you're struggling, watch the video. Still struggling, contact support. So let's see, we have free groups, as I mentioned, and it's important that you have Explorer open and properties open in order for this to work. You can find them over in View and then Properties and Explorer right here. They are probably the most important thing when making an airline or a game or anything, so I hope you do already. So replicated storage full group, we move that over to replicated storage. If you have a long list to scroll through because of your long workspace with all those parts, you can right click, cut, or Control X, and then paste it into, well, scroll down into until you find replicated storage and paste into. It will still work. So inside this group we have a folder. However, we need to make sure we ungroup this either by Control U or right click ungroup. Now we have one folder in replicated storage announcement system. Based on how many scripts and products you have, you probably have something else here as well. However, with the announcement system, there's only one folder and it's named just this. Inside is 3 folders as well, in which none of them you have to touch. I'm interested to see, yeah, that works. So service script service, let's drag that, or again, you can cut it. Service script service and Control U, uniform, or right click ungroup. And then you have a script called loader. In here you'll find system and GUI, which most likely won't be populated with anything but scripts until you start the game. That is to protect our company and our brand. And then you'll also find pre-written, in which you can find the link to that down in the README tutorial, or on my page, of course, in order to know how to create pre-written announcements so that it's easier for your staff. But yeah, you don't really need to touch anything here. And then there's also starter player scripts. This one confuses a lot of people because I can't see starter player scripts here, but I can see starter player. And inside starter player is starter character scripts and starter player scripts. We need to make sure it's in the player scripts. If not, the system will not work. So again, ungroup this, and then you have one script here, and that's all you need to touch for that. Super simple setup. And then obviously you can go into more detail with it. And I forgot to mention, the README may look a bit different for you based on the version you are. For example, there may be more themes because this is just an early test for the product, in which you will not have v1.0.0 on launch. Yeah, so we have now ungrouped everything. And then now we need to complete the configuration below. We need to make sure to read specific instructions, explanation for each field, and if you need assistance, contact support. So then we go down here to the config. First of all, group ID, which is in the link when you're on your group's page, you'll find an ID. It may vary in length, however, just copy the ID, not the link, just the ID, just the numbers. For staff rank, in your group management, you can find the rank ID for all the roles in your group, I believe they're called, in which the lowest rank you want to be able to use the system and have the top bar like icon to use and send announcements and such is the rank you should put here. So in my case, it's 50. This group is one of my groups. Then there's this seconds per word, or SPW. That I used a algorithm or a website which has gathered data on people, and it has said that people read at around 0.5 seconds or use 0.5 seconds per word. However, that may vary, of course, in which is the reason you can change it here. So this is purely for the automatic display time system, which is included if you don't know how many seconds you should show the announcement for. And you can raise this as high as you want or as low as you want, but keep in mind that the seconds may be very high. So 0.5 I find is a perfect pace in which I don't need to look at it all the time, but you can clearly read all of it, and if you're unsure of something, read back at it, depending on the length, of course. If you have one word, it'll be for 0.5 seconds, of course. Then we go down to the filter. This is for the announcements. So when they pop up on the screen, will they be filtered? So if someone says a swear word or similar, will it be filtered? So if this is true, it will be filtered. If it's false, it will not be filtered. Due to Roblox's code of conduct, I'd recommend keeping this true. However, some words like Discord, when keeping it true, are blocked. meaning you can't share your invite link through the announcement system. So if you trust your staff, I'd put this to false. Then there's audio, because you can have a audio announcement in the system. That is on if you have it true or false. I have it true, which means there will be this ding dong sound or similar that you hear at an airport when they are putting an announcement. By default, the audio is at volume 1, but when testing, if you feel like, hey, the volume's a bit high, lower it. So you can go all the way from 0 to 10. However, 10 is very loud, and 1 could be loud based on the loudness of the audio itself by default. Then there's also custom audio ID, which is if you want to have your own custom ID, in which you can also play a 3-minute song through, but that would happen every single announcement if you have it true, so I would not recommend that. But hey, it's for the fun of it as well. But if you want to have a simple ding dong or something like that, you can put the ID in there, just the ID, not any link. And then yeah, if you're not planning on having a custom ID, keep this number at 0. If you are, have the ID there and make sure it's correct, of course, because if not, the system will not work. And in that case, if it doesn't work, just put it back to 0 and use one of the free pre-added audios, which I've included. There's a link here in which I think you can listen to the audio to hear how they are. If not, just change the audio select number here to either 1, 2, or 3. It will play whichever song is placed in the number here. So don't put the ID, put the number 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, of course, if the links don't work, just test them in game. If they sound nice, hell yeah. And I think I need to get these distributed on the marketplace in order for them to work. So if they don't work, have a custom ID, get yourself a custom sound. But if they do work by the time you get this product, you can test them out, of course. Then there's the UI related section, which is, for example, group name that is on the actual announcement system panel. It's between the preview message button and the send message on the right, and that's just the text for the group name. I put it at AeroSys, and it would be much appreciated to keep it that way. There's also a logo in the top right of it with the AeroSys logo, which is not changeable, even though there is a icon ID down here. That is just for brand protection. Then there's the announcement title. So if you don't include a title in the message you send, this is the title that will be shown on the themes if the theme has a title, or like the pop-up of the announcement. So announcement is probably a good one to have by default, or something like airline name, announcement, and such like that, and you can read all of this. However, the announcement title is not filtered in the default title, so keep in mind, if you have this true, remember not to select anything vulgar here. Then there is as.title match. This is for the pre-written section, in which I talked about a little bit about in the pre-written part of the setup. And if this is true, whenever you select or load a pre-written announcement, the title will automatically fill with the name of the announcement. This is not changeable per pre-written announcement. However, you can always change the title even though this is true, so I'd recommend having it true. But of course, it's up to you. That's why I added it there. as.theme. This one is important not to get wrong, because if you, for example, spell square wrong, the system will not work. And the list of themes is down here. This may be longer or shorter, depending on when you're watching this. But right now, list of available themes is dark, light, dark square, light square, dark underscore top corner, light underscore top corner. If you're not entirely sure how to write it, you can always double click here and it will select what's in between the quotation marks, and you can do this over here as well and paste it in. Control V, Control C, and now you will have the dark square theme. And I don't have a lot of images to show for these themes, and they may be a longer list based on, again, when you're watching this. However, you can just try out whichever you try them out in game, and whichever you like, just keep it. But yeah, so B caps and grammar sensitive if you're writing it on your own. Then there's the icon ID. This is on the announcement pop-up itself, in which this ID is by default the AeroSys logo ID. And make sure keep only the numbers and such. This is a square icon, so don't have long like airline logos or anything, as it's just a square. It's for an icon, not a logo, if you know the difference. And then, for example, if you have a light theme, or well, now since it's at 000, which is black color, the icon color, for example, at a dark theme, the icon would be barely even shown. However, if you have a colored logo or icon, make sure to keep this as 255, 255, 255. Otherwise, the color will be changed of your icon as well. So yeah, if the icon is white, you can change the color here on the icon to match certain themes. You can always change it, but if, for example, your icon is green by default, it would be green only when this is white. Maybe when you put it to green as well, I'm not sure, but if you put it to pink, you'll have some weird color matching. So if, for example, it's a white icon like the AeroSys logo, you can use this. It's at 255, and you can change the color, maybe pink or whatnot, to match the theme that you have. And that's pretty much it for the config. And then there's the pre-written announcements, in which you can watch the second video for if you want them. So yeah, if you encounter any issues, feel free to check that out with staff, contact support, but obviously I'd recommend watching the videos at first. So here you can, if you hover over the top bar here, you can drag it around your screen, because I know it's a bit large. However, it's large so that it's easy to press and not press something wrong. So yeah, to enable and disable it, press the top bar icon with the megaphone, and then you'll have this this UI in which you can enter a title, hey, and then the message, this is cool. And then here, it's now selected on manual mode, which means I can change this display time manually for 12 seconds, or I can change it to auto, which puts it, again, 0.5 seconds per word, which is then 1.5. This is not changeable if it's on auto. And if your preview message, oh, I previewed the message by accident, which I think we had an error for. Yeah, that's just something messed up on my end, in which obviously won't be wrong by the time you are watching this. But yeah, so pre-written, and then here you see the display time. For example, this could be set to anything, 100, a million, but again, auto value is on both of these, so 9.5 seconds for the PE boarding. I press it, and the title is here. Let's treat this as the continuation for the pre-written announcements, because it didn't work back then. So yeah, PE boarding is the title, in which I can change, for example, boarding PE, just like that. If I press the message, everything will be gone, but again, you can load it up again, no problem, through pre-written here, and scroll through whichever work. Display time is automatically set, however, you can change it if you feel like it's maybe a bit too short, and then you can send. It won't work right now because of code issues. I messed up, so, but it will work when you do it like this. So yeah, you can drag it around your screen if it's in the way, use the pop-up icon to turn it on and off, or get it off your screen. If you lose it like this, like you can't reach it, it's below the screen, again, turn it off and turn it on, and it will reset to its default position. So yeah, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask staff. They have been trained on the product, so they will know how to fix it. If not, they will contact me personally and I will assist you. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and hope you continue to like AeroSys, contact support, and good night.